Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you have a child with you, I recommend for you to stay, inshallah. It's good for you, good for them, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashraf al-anbiya'i wal-mursaleen. Nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Allahumma aj'al tajammu'ana hadha tajammu'an marhuma wa tafarruqna minhu tafarruqan ma'suma wa la taj'al minna wa la baynana shaqiyyan wa la mahruma. Allahumma ameen. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you're not going to attend the class, if you're not attending the class, then leave in peace, please. Jazakallah khair. It's okay. First line for Abdullah here. Habibi Sheikh. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give freedom to our beloved brother Marwan Ma'roof, and to heal our brother Tahir al-Badawi, Allahumma ameen, and to ease the hardships of the Muslims wherever they are, whether it's sickness, whether it's disease or oppression. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Looks like I'm gonna eat the snack bars. Nobody's gonna answer the question. You guys are gonna answer all the questions, inshallah? So who's the character that we started talking about last week? Muhammad was not here, so he cannot answer. Huh? Jabir who? Jabir ibn Abdullah. Okay, I think it's enough for him to win the snack bar. Habibi, as you're entering, close the door, please. Jazakallah khair. Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari. And I always think that Jabir is a very underrated Sahabi, because the relationship between him and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has so many beautiful stories that wallahi all educators will learn from that. So let's see if we remember. When did Jabir become a Muslim? Who remembers that? When did Jabir become a Muslim? Atallah. I'm not looking for the age. What was the incident? استنى يا بابا استنى لا give عطلة How many people were with him? Six. Okay, I think, okay, sit down then. Okay. That's okay. Your dad is waiting for you? Who is waiting for you? Nobody is, then sit down. It's like, where are you gonna go? Sit where you were so I can see you better. So just go to the left side a little bit. Okay. So Jabir ibn Abdullah, as we said, he was one of the first 6 Sahaba from Medina. A beautiful seed, as Imam al-Barakfuri says in Rahiq al-Makhtoum, who came to Medina and they changed humanity afterwards. 6. And one of them was Jabir, who maybe was 15, 16 years old. Subhanallah. He became a Muslim before his own father, Abdullah ibn Amr ibn Haram. And the Prophet ﷺ loved Jabir quite a bit, especially after he had a very beautiful relationship with him, especially after his father died. When did his father die? Atallah? Battle of Uhud. And Abdullah told his son, my son, I don't see myself except I'm going to die today in the Battle of Uhud. Okay? And indeed, he was one of the very first people who died in the Battle of Uhud. And the Prophet ﷺ, to make Jabir feel better, and the Prophet ﷺ, of course, doesn't make up these things. He said, تبكيه أو لا تبكيه ما زالت الملائكة تظلله بأجنحتها حتى رفعوه. Cry over him or don't cry over him, the angels are giving him shade as they're raising him to Jannat al-Firdaus, inshallah, his soul, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Jabir is, and again, this is part of how we see the problem is, Jabir is one of the biggest narrators of hadith in Islam. He narrates 1,540 ahadith. And we barely know who Jabir is. He's one of the first 6, as we mentioned, 6 that every single Muslim till Judgment Day is going to owe those 6, right? The 6 became 72 and two women, and then it multiplied until Islam spread in Medina, and now Islam 1 billion and a half, 2 billion, subhanallah. But every Muslim who ever came to Islam after that owes those 6. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them on our behalf. Allahumma ameen. So Jabir's father died in the Battle of Uhud, and that's the story we covered last time about the debt. And he told his son, my son, if I die, pay my debt. So is Atallah, for example, may Allah give you good health, but is he too young to tell him that you have a debt? He is? No, he's not. You treat him like a man, right? Right? And Atallah, you're going to take care of the debt. Even when Baba's alive, you're going to take care of the debt. Huh? So he's not too, don't think of him too small. How old are you, man? 14. Oh, he's ready to get married, mashallah. Huh? No, so you have, but we have also, listen to that. Every one of us may owe something to somebody. Somebody in your family has to know that you have a debt. Big, your wife, your children, multiple people, but somebody has to know that you have a debt. But look at Abdullah ibn Amr ibn Haram. He's trusting his son, who's probably 15, 16 years old, saying, take care of your sisters, and I think he had 6 sisters, and the big debt. And then we know that we covered last time that the Prophet ﷺ told him, when you gather up the dates, call me ya Jabir. And the Prophet ﷺ made dua to put barakah in the date of Jabir. And then he said, bring the people who had debt, one after the other. They all got their debt. And then there was plenty of date left for Jabir. And that's when the Prophet ﷺ laughed and smiled, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And we said, what do you guys expect the relationship the feeling from Jabir towards the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam after that? And what's a good word to describe this feeling? Yeah, he loved him. What else? I'm looking for one word. Abdullah. He respected him. What else? Think. The Prophet ﷺ helped him to pay the debt of his father. What's the word? What's a good word for he owes him? Gratitude. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Don't give your snack to Abdullah. You may share on the way. Right? Gratitude and love, admiration. And the story we're going to cover maybe in a week or 2. We have about 3 more weeks with Jabir. He's going to show you now the opposite, how Jabir feels, how he is trying to pay back even a portion of what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam back. So today's story is again something amazing the Prophet ﷺ did for Jabir. In one of the battles, one of the smaller battles, not Uhud or Badr, Ghazwat Dhat al-Riqa', the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba were returning, and Jabir said, I had a camel, but my camel was weak. So I was not catching up with the rest. The rest of the crowd were always speeding in front of Jabir, and Jabir was lagging behind. Who came to him? Mercy to mankind, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The Prophet ﷺ. And Jabir is poking the camel it's like, move ya camel. He's like, the camel is not healthy. So the Prophet ﷺ said, bring the camel down. Right? And the Prophet ﷺ came down from his own camel. He said, give me the stick. And the Prophet ﷺ gently poked the camel 2 or 3 times. He said, now ride the camel. He said, Wallahi, the camel was running. I could not keep up with it. The camel was so fast. The barakah of the Prophet ﷺ, the camel, mashallah, tabarak rahman, is now healthy and fast. So now the Prophet ﷺ is riding next to Jabir. Okay? Look at that. And again, the beauty, we may not get to see each other too often, right? Like this man and this man. I love you all for the sake of Allah, but these are among the two of the best people I love in this dunya. It's the few minutes I spend with them in the week. Maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. But let's make it matter. It's quality versus quantity. Yeah, we all know, right? Quality versus quantity, right? But let's make it matter. The Prophet ﷺ, you can imagine how many Sahaba, children, wives, friends, all of that, and every one of them always thought that he loved them more than anybody else. He said, so the Prophet ﷺ is chatting with Jabir on the way back. He said, Ya Jabir, would you sell me your camel? This was the camel that was lagging behind now. Now the camel is fixed. So the Prophet ﷺ, we'll see where it goes. He said, would you sell me your camel, Ya Jabir? He said, Ya Rasulullah, ahibahu lak. I give it to you as a gift. You don't need to buy it. He said, no, I don't want it as a gift. I want to buy it. He said, okay, how much would you pay for him? He said, 1 dirham. He said, okay, then Ya Rasulullah, you're not paying me enough now, right? So he said, okay, more Ya Jabir? He said, yes, 2 dirham. And they kept going until it became wuqiyya, a pound of gold. A pound of gold. Yeah? Khalas, you take it, Ya Jabir? Yes, I take it, Ya Rasulullah. Then look at that. When they go, now Jabir said the condition, I'm going to just ride it back to Medina, right? Like, I'm not going to sell you the camel and walk back. When they go back to Medina, Jabir goes to the Prophet ﷺ to give him the camel. He said, take the pound of gold and take the camel. The camel is yours. So he bought it from him and he gifted him back and gave him the money. Think about that situation. Think about the situation with the debt and the tamr, and how the Prophet ﷺ supported that. Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, he says that this camel had so much barakah from the poke of the Prophet ﷺ. He lived during the times of the Prophet ﷺ, all of his life, until he died, and then the time of Abu Bakr, and then he died during the time of Umar. Jabir brought the camel to Umar, and he said, this is the story of the camel. He said, put him among the camels of the sadaqah and make him, graze in the best places where we have, good grass. And he said he stayed there until he died. And Al-Hafidh al-Bayhaqi has a book called Dalail al-Nubuwah that has, hundreds of proofs of the miracle of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he had a chapter about the camel of Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari. Another thing that Jabir said, on that night, as I was spending with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made istighfar for me 25 times. 25 times from the mouth of Prophet ﷺ, making istighfar for who? For Jabir ibn Abdullah, whom we as an ummah hardly know who's Jabir. Jabir what? I play soccer with a guy called Jabir. It's like, no, Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari. We need to know these people, wallahi. The reason I remind myself and all of you, the reason I personally love history makes character. History fixes our characters as adults, and history makes character for this younger crowd. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to gather us with Jabir and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Jannat al-Firdaus, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those who bring the honor of this ummah again, like the times of Jabir and the Sahaba. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Come collect your trophies then. Sure. Yeah, you